Hi guys, follow me on Instagram to never ever miss any of my crazy updates. Hi guys and welcome to another vlog. I'm driving this. This is the Mercedes AMG C63 Coupe. Straight away we are going to be opening the engine bay, which is fantastic because this is a V8. It says AMG right there, handcrafted by Luca Profetto, Mercedes-AMG Germany. And just look at the way the engine has been done. It's so amazing to look at. Obviously, there's an air vent here. Okay, why is the air vent blocked? Yeah, it actually opens. That's kind of cool. Let's shut the engine bay because the design of this car doesn't stand with the philosophy of what a CE and S AMG should be, because this is not a sleeper. This is the coupe and it looks absolutely ravishing to say the least. You get the Pan Americana grille up front, bold Mercedes logo. There's a front camera right here, another Mercedes logo there, and this is obviously the indicator. It gets beautiful lights. Lights are stellar. Obviously, they are all LED units, but it gets something known as High Beam Assist Plus. What does it do? Well, it's multi-beam LED. What it does is, even if you're on high beam, or basically you can always be on high beam, it automatically dims the light, the LEDs. It has got a multitude of LEDs. It dims some of these LEDs to ensure that the oncoming traffic does not get blinded. Look at the attention to detail. It is insane, and this blue tinge is so lovely. You obviously get front parking sensors. You get a front splitter. Look at the bumper. Have you seen such an aggressive bumper on any car? Well, I don't think I have. Okay, you get a towing hook. I have actually. On the AMG GTR, coming to the side of the car, you realize that the wheelbase is the same as a C class, or the wheelbase is the same as the C63. However, this car is actually heavier in spite of having two less doors. That doesn't make sense. I will explain when we drive this car. Straight away, look at the wheels of the car. I love the wheels on this car. Now, standard wheels are 18 inches. This is running on 19 inches, but only at the front we get 19s. It is a 255 35 19 up front. Look at the way how subtly the brake calipers are finished in grey with AMG written on them. Beautiful, right? I love this hubcap as well, Mercedes hubcap. Very nicely done, very low profile tires, Pirelli P0. It says V8 bi-turbo to tell you that this is no joke. This car will fly when you get on the accelerator. Carbon fiber finish on the outside rear view mirrors. In fact, you get a 360-degree parking camera, so obviously there's a camera there as well. You get side skirts as well. And coming to the rear is where the real action lies. Why? I'll tell you for multiple reasons. First and foremost, it gets a staggered tire setup. So the rear tire is actually bigger than the front tire. Okay, it is 285 30 20 30 profile tire. I can't even see the tire. I just think the car is running on the wheels itself. That is how low profile it is. Obviously, you've got AMG colored brake calipers. Looks really nice. Tires are super wide. Check this out. But how much ever I love this car and I love the attention to detail. Unfortunately though, it's got some fake stuff going on. Like, what is this? This fake stuff doesn't look nice. Obviously, you get rear parking sensors. You get a towing hook at the rear. And the lights are beautiful. Fantastic. They look so lovely at night now. I just love them. You get a carbon fiber lip spoiler at the rear, and the reverse parking camera is out right now. So yes, this actually goes inside. Right now it's outside. So that's also very cool on this car. The reverse parking camera comes outside when you get into reverse. You see the indicator at the rear says AMG right there. The rear stance is just fantastic to say the least. C63. Look at the diffuser on this car. Okay, so that the air flows properly. Gets quad exhaust, although behind there are just two pipes. Yeah. There are two pipes at the rear, but the outside covering is nice with AMG written right on top. Same is the case here as well. The underbody is well finished for better aerodynamic efficiency. Oh my god, the car is so hot. It's super duper hot in the sense that it's heating a lot. It's turned on right now, but this is a coupe and looks beautiful in that sense. What a lovely design language. I absolutely love the design of this car. Let's do one thing. Let's open the boot of the car. In order to open the boot of the car, there has to be something here. No, actually not, because in order to open the boot of the car, these are actually the lights. Can you believe it? So you open it with a key, or you actually open it by pressing a button right there. Now the good thing is it's got a power tailgate. So if I just press this button, there the boot comes up. That's pretty cool. The boot space is obviously lesser than a C-Class sedan, obviously because sloping roofline eats into the boot space. And of course this spare wheel, which happens to be a smaller size tire, 175 50 19s. Well, that's not going to suffice at all. And there's some bags kept here, but obviously you get the first aid kit, you get the toolbox, you get a light placement here, and the seats actually split forward in 40 20 40 format. Now to close the boot, just press this button and there the boot closes. How cool is that? Obviously that's something we've seen on a lot of cars. Now let me do one thing. Let me take the liberty of opening the windows, and we are going to try and get into the rear seat. The rear seats are of not much use, unfortunately. You know why? because obviously there's not much space on offer. So I love the fact that it's got frameless doors which look uber cool, and this yellow stitching is also very well done on the seats as well as on the door pads. These are AMG sports seats, super duper awesome in terms of comfort level. Now to get to the rear, how do you do it? There's a lever here, just press this like this, and there it will move forward on its own. This is electric, this is fantastic. This makes it so much easier to get inside the rear without having to pull the seats. But the rear seat experience isn't that good because the seat is a bit upright, under thigh support is poor, legroom, knee room is kind of non-existent unless you're a child. You got Burmester speakers at the rear, and there is some amount of storage space here as well. But this is not a place where you can sit in, at least I can't. But they've actually scooped out the roof there, okay, in order to increase the headroom, which kind of works to a certain extent. But there are two cup holders in the center as well. I really can't get in because there's not much space on offer. So I'm just going to shut it, and there it goes back again. Now the glove box is actually lockable, and it has this canister area for a perfume and a light too, but the perfume is missing. That's known as air balance actually in Mercedes speak. And here there's storage space as well, which means that let's keep the doors open for a bit and let me show you the car from the front with the doors open. It looks like a car which can fly any given moment. That's how freaking cool it looks. Lovely seats. The seats are fantastic on this car, and under thigh support is not an issue at all. You know why? Because you can adjust the under thigh support at the front and on the front seats. At the rear, forget under thigh support. There's not much knee room or leg room. I don't think even children will be very comfortable there. This looks absolutely stellar and fantastic on this Mercedes. Obviously AMG is written on the front grille as well. Coming to the rear of the car, you can again see it. Frameless doors really accentuate the sporty appeal of this Mercedes car. And you've got heated seats, you've got ventilated seats as well, both for the driver as well as co-passenger. This is how you operate them. Now the bad thing is that the driver cannot operate these seats, the co-passenger seat rather. You got 3 memory functions as well, fully adjustable, 4-way lumbar support adjustment. So pretty cool in that sense. You can adjust it in a multitude of ways. So this is of course the AMG seats, which are I think optional maybe, so they cost a bit more money, but who really cares, because everything else is fantastic in this car. The metal switches are very nice. These are controls for the outside rear view mirror. These are for the window controls. Burmester sound system. Let me turn off the ventilated function. I love the design of the car. I absolutely love it. This AMG thing actually blinks at night. I kid you not, it blinks at night. And like I was telling you, under thigh support is not an issue because you can increase the under thigh support with the press of a button. These are the buttons you press to increase the under thigh support. There you see, you get a big brake pedal, which stopping power is fantastic. This is the electric parking brake. These are the controls for the automatic headlights. This is the engine start button. This is to turn off the parking sensors. This is to turn off the heads-up display, and this is to turn off the seat belt automatic giving and taking. I will show that to you in a bit. So as I close the door, check this out, okay? I close the door, and there the seat belt mechanism comes out and gives it to me, so that it's just easier for me to wear the seat belt. As I open the door, it actually goes back. Yeah, that is super duper cool and very nicely done. Yeah, I love it. Let's get inside. First and foremost, this car has good amount of features. Quality levels are fantastic, but it's actually an old car. Okay, why is it old? Because it misses out on certain things you would expect at this price point. So for starters, there's certain things which are missing, like it doesn't get the MBUX, it doesn't get a touchscreen either. This is not a touchscreen. Let's get into the menu. Now it gets the rotary controller, which is very nice. This is something you already know about because I've shown it to you in a multitude of Mercedes cars. Meanwhile, this is a 12.3 inch instrument cluster. This is a 10.5 inch infotainment system. The infotainment system is really slick, really rad. Love the yellow stitching here. Love the yellow stitching on the seat belt as well. Yeah, the seat belt also gets yellow stitching, which I'll show you. Actually, you can see it on the rear seat belts. No, the yellow stitching is not there on this car. Okay, you could have got yellow seat belts or probably red seat belts as well. That would be uber cool. The thing is, they have done this yellow stitching everywhere now, which looks super rad and sporty as well. Auto dimming inside rear view mirror, obviously. And here is a sunglass holder. Meanwhile, a lot of controls here for the lights. Yeah, plenty of lights. In fact, there are lights here as well, which you can see right now. Let's turn them off. Let's open the sun blind of the sunroof. Now, it's not really a big sunroof, but it's bigger than what is usually the case. Let's open the sunroof here. There it opens, brings in a lot of airy feeling because the cabin is all black. And because the cabin is all black, you find it very sporty. I find it extremely sporty. And this is about it opens. But what happens once you open it, now this actually retracts back to ensure that it closes the part of the sun blind to ensure it's a full open sky with unlimited headroom. It's technically not unlimited headroom because I can't pop my head out. Here you obviously get a light along with a mirror and a microphone as well. Same is the case here as well. Meanwhile, okay, under the front center armrest, there's storage space. There's a SD card slot along with 2 USB slots as well. And a lot of controls here. Now this is a wireless charging pad. This is an ashtray. There's a cup holder here. There's a USB charging socket right there. And it says AMG here. This is carbon fiber finish. Now, you know what, you can operate the audio system from here. A lot of buttons. These are obviously for the drive selector. This is to get into manual mode of the gearbox. This is for the suspension. This is for traction control. This is to go into home. This is to go to back. This is for the parking camera. This is for stop start system. This is for the active exhaust, and this is the volume controller. These are various controls here for navigation, radio, media, telephone, and this is for the car function. This is for the hazard light. IWC clock. These are the controls for the air conditioning. Gets a dual zone climate control. Air conditioning works fantastically well. Now this screen is fantastic, obviously in a ton of ways. Let's get into reverse right away. You can see this is the reverse parking camera of the car. 1 second, why is the reverse parking camera not working? Yeah, now you can see it. This is the reverse parking camera of the car, and it gets a 360-degree view. Of course, it gets guidelines which are obviously adaptive, and there are multitude cameras because it's got a ton of cameras. And I'm so stupid, I'm trying to touch it there. It doesn't get a touch screen. Faisal, what are you doing? I'm so used to the new Mercedes cars which have touch screen. Multiple views here, which is fantastic as well, without a doubt. And you know what? This screen is very good in terms of the quality levels. Someone has joined us. Hi Nureen, what's up? How are you?
Hello, what's
Can
up?
you catch this camera?
Yeah.
What happened? I saw you roaming around, walking randomly, talking.
Yeah, I was on a call.
Oh, that's nice. Getting back to the vlog, I forgot to ask, how are you?
I said I'm good. How are you?
Chal jhooti. Anyways, so let's get into the menu. Now, I was talking about having this air canister thing. First and foremost, we have to get into vehicle. It gets Apple CarPlay, it gets Android Auto connectivity as well. And once you get into track pace now, there are a ton of options here as well. So it says warning for use on tracks only. Basically what it does is it lets you do a drag race, it lets you time yourself, it does all of that and more. So you've got a multiple number of options for there too. However, when you get into reverse now, actually the mirrors, they decline, they retract downwards, so you can see that you don't hit anywhere, basically a footpath or something. So like I was telling you, you can time yourself with a lot of information. Oh my god, this infotainment system is overloaded, but yeah, the MBUX is just something else because it's got voice command as well. Coming to climate control now, you've got something known as air freshener. It says please switch on air conditioning or to adjust the air freshener. Here, I'm turning on the car.
Yeah, you need it. Look at you, you're sweating.
Obviously, I'm going to sweat now because there is so much heat inside. You don't have to point the camera right onto my face. Okay, the car is turned on at the moment. Let's turn on the air conditioning. Air conditioning has been turned on. It says insert the perfume vial. I don't know why all the Mercedes cars are missing on that. Cost cutting for media fleet probably, but who cares. Now the steering wheel is adjustable both for reach as well as rake, which means you can take it up and you can take it down. It's got this beautiful metal finish. The steering wheel is fantastic. Only thing is this plastic thing feels out of place. Now this is known as the AMG drive control. You can actually get into various drive modes from here itself without having to distract yourself by pressing this dynamic button here. And these are obviously to configure various other parameters of the car. There are a ton of parameters, so you can just turn on and off things or press it in the center to change stuff from suspension, exhaust, automatic stop start system, traction control system and whatnot. So everything is on your fingertips. Now this is very much like what you get in a Ferrari or a Porsche. Nice metal treatment. These are for the cruise control. These are the buttons for the audio system, and these are for operating this screen here. Yeah, that's the usual Mercedes affair. And this BlackBerry style touch is also fantastic. It's got a ton of ambient lighting as well, so ambient light colors are also very good in this car. Let's get into light settings straight away. And I love the way Mercedes does ambient lighting because there are so many options. There are 64 colors for the ambient lighting as well. Meanwhile, these are the controls to operate this instrument cluster, which is fantastic again. But you know what, it's so loaded, you never have to look here ever at all. And it's got 3 designs for the design of the instrument cluster as well, which I will show you while driving. It's got nice paddles, very nice finish, metallic finish. And this is obviously the gas selector. These are the controls for the wipers. Let's use the wipers right away. Plenty of spray on offer. They clean the windscreen in no time at all. And there's a heads-up display there too. And you know what? The heads-up display also have multiple views. Yeah, that's right. You can change the views. So I don't know if you can see it. Let me zoom there. Yeah, that's the first view. You can just keep changing it. There are so many options for the heads-up display as well. But I'll just put it to the best one, which happens to be, there are not so many. There are actually 6 options probably, along with a lap timer, I think. Yeah, that is a lap timer. Probably, yeah, I can't see it properly actually. Yeah, that's a lap timer. This is the best display, so we'll keep it at that for a moment. That's about it. I think it's time we start driving. But before that, let's play an audio right away, which means that I have to go to the sucky radio and play it because my phone is not connected. I'm actually shooting with my phone. Here, let's listen to an audio. Audio quality as expected is fantastic thanks to the Ballistic sound system on this car. But honestly, it's a V8. So all we care about is driving. So let's get going straight away. Alright, we're all set to go, which means first and foremost we are going to turn off the air conditioning of the car. We are going to get into Sport Plus mode. AMG Dynamics, we are going to set it into Advanced. Actually, we set it into Pro. Drive mode into Manual. Actually, we'll keep it automatic itself. And air conditioning is off. What's the noise which is coming? No, air conditioning is not completely off. Completely off now. Climate is off. Okay, we are in the full banana mode. Obviously, the suspension is also into Sport Plus. Everything is into Sport Plus. We get into drive mode. Let's get into track pace. Let's get into a drag race for acceleration. And as soon as we pull away, it's going to start the measurement. Left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator. Revving the motor, it says race start. Holy moly, what acceleration. Insane. The thrust from this motor is absolutely stellar. And you know what? Because I put the AMG dynamics into Pro, you could feel the car moving around a bit because the AMG driving dynamics changes three things. First and foremost, obviously, it works with the differential. It also works with the torque vectoring and the traction control system of this car as well. And because this channels all the power to the rear wheels, it's very sprightly. If you get hard on the gas, it actually moves around a bit and you have to be really very careful. Acceleration is absolutely brisk. It goes from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 4 seconds. Now this is the C63. This is not the C63S. The C63S has around 34 horsepower, more than 50 Newton meters more torque, because the 4-liter bi-turbo V8, which is a 3982cc motor, has 32 valves. It's a DOHC unit, is the M177 engine. It produces 476 horsepower at 5,500 RPM to 6,250 RPM in the C63. Meanwhile, in the C63S, the power output goes to 503 horsepower and the torque output of this car is 650 Newton meters, which comes in at a low 1750 RPM and stays there at 4,500 RPM. An additional 50 Newton meters means 700 Newton meters of torque in the C63S. What is the difference? 0.1 of a second. Yeah, that's right. The C63S will go from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 3.9 seconds. So, I mean, the difference isn't much because the C63 is also fast enough, but of course, you're paying so much more. You want slightly more performance from your car. Now, you can see I've slowed down quite a bit because the ride quality is super harsh. In sport mode, there is no compliance whatsoever, absolutely none. Now, we're going to do something very brave, which is we're going to put the traction control on Sport. Yeah, ESP Sport. You can see the G-force meter there. We're going to change the mode into Sport. G-force meter still on, left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator. Revving the motor, it says race start, and off we go. Absolutely insane, this acceleration from this car. It sounds so sporty now, and the best part is there is power and torque throughout the rev range. There is no flat spot whatsoever. You get into the gas anytime, it just pulls ahead with so much enthusiasm. It never lets go. It just doesn't let go because there's a good low end punch, there's a good mid range punch, there's a fantastic top end. It redlines at 7,000 RPM. Yeah, 7,000 RPM. Okay. It sounds like a freaking muscle car. It is actually a muscle car. Now, I was telling you, this car actually weighs more than the sedan version, which should not make sense because technically this is a 2-door, that is a 4-door. A 4-door will obviously weigh more, but no, not in this case. You know why? Because the doors are longer and they had to strengthen the chassis, which has added a little bit weight to this car. That's why it weighs slightly more than the C63 sedan. This coupe doesn't matter actually because the rear track is wider by 50 mm, giving it better handling as well. Braking performance is stellar. Absolutely phenomenal brakes on this car. So here we are going to get into left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator, and launch. Race start. The tires are almost always scrambling for traction because it just cannot keep up with the amount of power and torque going to the rear wheels, and that is the beauty of this car. Okay, the beauty is the handling characteristics. The chassis is so welcoming. The chassis is super welcoming. The steering is full of feel and feedback, and the car performs fantastically well. It's a car, you know, anyone can get in and drive. Now, what does these drive modes actually do? There are 6 drive modes. There's slippery, there's individual, there's comfort, there's sport plus. Thankfully, there's no eco mode on offer. Although probably this car would need one because it drinks fuel like no one's business. A fuel economy of around 3 to 5 kilometers per liter, depending on your driving style. You can stretch it to around. Oh my god, this is absolute bananas. The gearbox on this car is a 9-speed torque converter unit. It's so fast with shifts. It's unbelievably quick with shifts. But the only gripe I have is oh my goodness, is the ride quality of this car. And the ground clearance, there's no ground clearance on offer. There's absolutely none. There is one of the worst speed breakers. One of the worst. Look at that speed breaker. It is atrocious. who the hell even made that? Which means that we are actually going to get into comfort mode. Not that the ride height is going to get raised, because it doesn't get air suspension, it doesn't need one. It has got okay, if you come to a complete halt, it's got adaptive dampers. Okay, so basically these 6 drive modes, they change a lot of parameters, like from the engine, the gearbox, the steering wheel, and the dampers, as well as the ESP mode as well. And this is the crawling speed I would never expect myself to have been at. But then what to do? We have to get through this. We shall get through this, and we have. Alright, so you know what, the gearbox is super smart. It is so fast with shifts. It's already in 2nd gear. Now just look at the number on the instrument cluster. Okay, I'm going to drive very calmly. It's on 3rd gear. It's in 3rd gear already. It's in 4th at 27 kilometers per hour at around 38 kilometers per. Okay, it's already in 5th, and now as you keep on piling the pace, the gearbox is already in 6th. It's so freaking smart. This 9-speed unit torque converter is super smooth, super fast, super quick, and it wants to save the earth by conserving fuel, because it's already in 7th right now. And as soon as I hit 6, okay, there it is in 8th. By the time we actually get into the main road, it should be in 9th gear already. Yeah, 70 kilometers per hour, 9th gear. What the F? This is absolutely crazy how this gearbox is able to balance both madness as well as subtle performance too, because the performance is so good even at lower speeds. Like right now, everything is so calm, everything is so fluid, everything is so sane, because I have come into comfort mode, and then ride quality is kind of bearable in comfort mode. In sport mode, it is unbearable. The car is so stiff, it's so stiff that every 206 bones in your body, you can feel them. Trust me on this. It's madness. And because of the stiffness, the car also rattles a lot on the inside. Now obviously performance is good in comfort mode as well, but then there is no point driving an AMG in comfort mode, because the exhaust system has shut. Another parameter which gets altered is the active exhaust on this car. Now of course, when you get it into Sport Plus, or you can actually manually also decide you want the exhaust to go bananas, it sounds so nice. It blips down. Okay, you check this out. Okay, when I go to brake, I'm in sport mode, and you see, as I brake, it blips super fast to come to a halt. That's super duper awesome as well. Now here we are, left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator. It's giving me acceleration data that I don't really care about. Left foot on the brake, right foot on the accelerator. AMG Dynamics Pro, traction control ESP Sport, and you can hear the rear wheel scrambling for traction. And you know what? Mercedes has actually done, the AMG engineers have done a very smart thing with this car. They've got rid of the mechanical diff at the rear. Instead, they've opted for an electronic diff, which actually is more progressive. The earlier one was snap and on and off, so it doesn't let you play around in the old C63. This one lets you play around. This is a drift happy madness rear tire shredding machine. It absolutely loves to burn its rear tires, because that is the amount of grunt it has got, and it does insane speeds. Now the top speed on this car is actually limited to 250 kilometers per hour. The C63S will take you all the way to 288 kilometers per hour. Now we've got a good road to launch on, so here we go. Before you think about it, you've already crossed speeds. Now it's got cross-drilled ventilated rotors, and carbon ceramic discs are obviously optional for better braking performance. The ride quality, look, it's so busy, it's super busy even on good roads. On bad roads, you can feel everything. On expansion joints, your balls crack actually, because you are firstly very worried on expansion joints that you're going to ruin the super low profile tires on this car. If you buy this car, do not opt for the optional 19-inch front and the 20-inch rear. Instead, just be content with having the 18 inches, because our roads are just not meant for such cars. This car overwhelms the rear tires every time. Okay, right now I'm just driving at 100 kilometers per hour. I get into the gas, it's in 6th gear. The gearbox shifts in 3rd gear in no time at all. The shifts are super quick, super fast, super fluid, insane. And the steering is super duper awesome. It's very fast the way the steering moves. Okay, it's so responsive. It weighs up beautifully well as well. And this is a pure driver's delight. This is such a fantastic machine. I'm out of words. I can't describe what a feeling it is to drive a Mercedes C63. In fact, dare I say it, this is one of my favorite cars of all time. Yeah, I will not take the E63. Okay, the E63 has more power, it's got 4MATIC and whatnot, but this one drives better. It handles better than the E63. You know why? Because it's lighter in terms of weight. It's rear wheel drive. It doesn't get 4MATIC, and even with lesser power, it just feels so much more playful. The handling is just in another league altogether. The braking is super duper fantastic. Only thing is, when you're braking from real high speeds now, then yeah, ABS becomes a bit too sensitive. The tires are not able to take that load when you brake really hard from higher speeds. You know why? Because our roads do not let you grip on them. They just don't give you the amount of traction you are expecting from it. Now, driving this car in the city is not a problem at all, because it feels very easy and light. Even in Sport Plus, I know the steering doesn't feel heavy at all. I know what the C63S also gets. It gets dynamic engine mounts. Basically, the engine mount stiffness varies according to the speed. When you rev the engine harder, the dynamic engine mounts become stiffer to ensure better handling. At lower speeds, lower engine speeds, they're softer so that the handling is going for a bit of a toss, but you won't really drive it fast at lower speeds as such. What am I even talking? It's a paradox. You won't corner hard at lower speeds, but you need better ride quality, and that's where it really excels, the dynamic engine mounts. But they're not there on this car, they're there on the C63S. The C63S also gets a race mode, by the way, which again is missing on this car. And we shall go manual on the gearbox. Check this out. Okay, the C63S has another feature wherein for the AMG Dynamics, it actually, and I kid you not, it actually has the same feature as the AMG GTR, which is this dial becomes a 9-level traction control button. Yeah, how does that happen? Well, if you go into master for the AMG Dynamics, well, the 9-level traction control also comes up, which makes this car super complex. I mean, come 7,000 RPM, and it will not upshift unless and until you decide to do so, giving you complete manual control of things. Now, some of the safety systems are actually missing on our car, which are optional. Now, lane keep assist is there, or collision avoidance and automatic braking, and even blind spot monitor. All that is missing on our car. But the heads-up display also changes when you get into manual mode, and it's telling me to upshift right now by showing me that, you know, you are in M3, you need to get into M4. If you know what I mean, you know what I freaking mean. Oh my god, so satisfying. This engine sounds so good. I mean, it could have been louder because of all this bullshit compliance and environmental nonsense now. These cars are going for a toss. This is the last of its kind. If you want one, get it right now before things get up. With 4-cylinder engine, unfortunately, 8 cylinders is the way to go. Burn all the fuel on earth, but at least when you come back home, you are satisfied. You have a wide grin on your face that you can't wipe out for the next 24 hours, because that is the level of performance this car has to offer. Now, if I turn off traction control, this car becomes a drift monster. It will drift. Unlimited drift ability from this vehicle, because that is the way it performs. But you know, it gets a little complex with so many buttons and so many things to configure. You are like baffled at a moment. You're like, what am I doing with my life? I'm just sitting and configuring the car. In fact, once you sit in the car, you're going to spend a good 15 minutes just deciding what mode you want, what mode you don't want. So it can go from CC mode to Pro mode depending on the right choices of buttons you press inside this vehicle. And I love the brakes. I just love them. Now you can increase the revs by pressing the right paddle. You have 4,000 RPM. The gearbox shifts very fast, and honestly, I cannot keep up with the shifts of the gearbox, unfortunately. You really need to be super quick with shifting gears, because the gearbox is just fantastic in the way it shifts. It's so quick. I can't understand how a torque converter box can be super quick with shifts. It's insanely fast. Just telling you now, it blips the throttle on downshifts. Fantastic. Now when you're activating launch control, okay, it says race start. Increase the revs using the right paddles, 4,000 RPM. It just decides to upshift at around 6,500 RPM, although it can go all the way to 7,000 RPM, but beats the point because peak power is coming somewhere around 6,000 RPM in this car. So how is the C63? I'll tell you one thing, okay? The earlier car was a sleeper, the C63S sedan, which was sold in India. This one is not. It looks the part. It looks fantastic. And one look at it and you know you're driving something really special. And one look from outside, people know you're driving something special. So it is an attention magnet in the real sense. Handling is fantastic. Steering is full of feel. There is no body roll in this car. There is no body movement. It is so freaking stiff. It is so good in terms of body control. It's just absurd how a car can be so good, which is technically an entry-level sedan, the C-Class, which has been converted into this mad monster of a kind. I know the sun is right in our face right now, but I don't give a flying about it, because all I need to do is downshift and bye-bye sun as well. So you see, this C-Class is so full of character. It's a muscle car in the real sense. It has muscle, it has got character, and it has got no competition either. You know why? Because neither of its rivals are on sale in India at the moment. And just to sum it up, this car has got 10x the character than both of its rivals combined, which tells you what a fab machine this is. This is the car I would buy. if you have to buy only one car, it would be the C63, probably the S, nothing else. Forget all the Bugattis, forget all the Ferraris. This is the one I would buy. That really sums up what a fantastic machine this is. So guys, this is my vlog of the Mercedes C63 AMG. What a fantastic machine. It is a rocket ship. It is just unparalleled in the way it performs. And let me break it to you, the cost of this car is rupees 1.6 crores. However, with the Mercedes Star Ease Compact, some packages there, you have to pay I think 98,000 rupees a month for 24 months for unlimited kilometers, which makes 2 years ownership, I think 23 lakhs, something of that sort. 23 lakhs 82,000 if my math serves me right, which seemed like a bargain. 2 years, you lose all your driving virginity and then you're satisfied forever. And if you like this vlog, make sure to give it a thumbs up. That's the like button. Once again, let me downshift and bye-bye.